Hello there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Messing About with a Narrowboat. Last episode we finished up the painting for the winter. We started to tidy up, so there's a few more bits of tidying up and putting things together, like the inspection hatches need to go on, the engine control panel needs to go on. I need to get the lining that we took down for the bulkheads, the bathroom bulkheads, that needs to go back up. So a fair few bitty things in this episode. Alright, so another week, but boy is it cold on the boat. It's only about 10 degrees. I might need to buy a little colour gas propane heater now and bring it onto the boat. It's a bit, it's so cold I can't really be bothered doing anything. But there are things to do, so let's crack on. So let's get inspection hatch covers on, the Morse control back on. Need to clear some of the paint out the holes first though. Here we are, just cleaning up the holes. Go around and do all of them. Yeah, lesson learned from putting the air vents back on is clean up all the threads on the screw holes first, and life will be a lot easier. And now do the same for the engine control panel holes. So when I took the inspection hatch cover off, there was no seal around it, which I suppose is right, I guess. If it's an inspection hatch, you want to take it off and inspect it. But I think I'll put some butyl tape on it just to give it a bit of water resistance so that water doesn't run round behind it and then in behind the Morse control. There we are, that'll give it some bit of weather protection at least. Last one. All I got to do now is trim off the butyl squeeze out and we're done. There we go, job number one done for today. Oh, it's beginning to come back to where it was before I started. Morse panel next, Morse control panel. Here we are, that's back on, and that didn't take very long. There's a little grub screw under there. You just need to lightly tighten, not too much. I didn't put any sealant or anything butyl tape on there because I kind of figured if the manufacturer had recommended a seal, they would have given a gasket to put on there, and unless it's lost, which I doubt because I got all the bags and everything with it. So I decided not to seal it up because the manufacturer hasn't. So it's time for the control panel. When we took it off and during the fit out, I noticed it was leaking. When we took it off, we could see rust coming down the side. So it definitely been leaking. There is a gasket on it, but the plastic's pretty bendy. It's not very rigid. So I reckon it's moved quite a bit in the heat and the cold. So I think I'm going to put another bit of butyl tape on it, belt and braces, just to give it a proper seal. It's back on, and I can see why it was leaking. There's a bit of a bow in it here. So even though these are quite tight, there's very little squeeze of the butyl there. So I'm glad I put extra sealant on it. Arguably I could go around with a tube of sealant and go over it again, but we'll see how that does. all trimmed off, but most definitely I think I'm going to go and break out the sealant gun, get some sealant round there. So that's it all wired up again, but before I seal it up with sealant, I'm going to start the engine. But I forgot the keys. Well, that's the stern, definitely finished. Pleased with that. And that's the bow hatch lid back on and all painted up. That's quite nice actually, with the black anchor point and the black border. I like that a lot. So the other thing I've done is we've bought some lovely oak 25mm thick oak, European oak, for the door linings. Now we're not going shaker style for the doors. What I'm going to do is try and route it out V-groove style, partly to match the below gunnels V-groove panelling, and partly as the modern style of kind of, what do they call them, a Belize door. So I'm going to route out a V-groove in them, but not today because I'm bloody cold. But what I will do is I'll get them lined with foil. Contact adhesive. So I put a little lip on it so that when I put the mastic in, or the glue in to glue the boards on, it can glue directly to the steel. I'm thinking about drilling some holes in and screwing stainless steel screws in the side. But I think the tolerances of the door and the overlap of the door is going to make that too tight and it'll jam. We'll just seal up the edges with a little bit of foil tape. So the last of my wee jobs today, and that will finish everything off with ending the painting, is I'm going to clean up my workbench. It got a bit paint splattered, so I'll give it a quick sand down, and that way when I put wood in on the table I'm not worried about paint marks on it. That's all sanded up, so now when I put nice bits of wood on there, it doesn't run the risk of getting any paint marks on it, which pleases me. So today was just really all about reset. At the end of last episode we started to tidy up, done a bit more tidying up, but really it's just resetting, getting everything put back together again, getting the inspection hatch on, the Morse control on, engine controls back. Lots of little things that actually take a surprising amount of time. I don't like straggly things, never have. Once we've got a work packet completed, like the painting, complete it, just tidy it all up, clear the decks, even if you have to bring everything back out again, clear the decks, reset, get your head reset, ready for the next set of tasks. Now I've just heard on the radio, it's National Donut Day. I'm out of here, see ya. It's time to take more plywood down to the boat. I managed to get all the wood in the boat, which is quite surprising given how high up we are. Luckily the guys at the yard came to my rescue and we put the wood on the forklift and lifted it up as high as we could. Only problem is I've chipped the paint. Well, at least the engine's running. Well, that finishes off the checks and the putting together from yesterday. I've only ran the engine for about 10 minutes just to burn off any condensation and stuff. It's out of the water, so you don't want to leave it running for too long. Just keep an eye on the temperature. Yeah, and then about 10 minutes later just cut it. So, jobs today, lining out, get all that put back together as well. The lining that we took off I need to cut to fit the bulkheads, and I brought the other lining in, so just let's get going. Time to try out my homemade track saw guide. Well, that worked a treat. That's one done. Let's get the other side done. Well, we're rattling through it today. That's 2 more bits of lining up. Let's go and tackle the bathroom. Okay, that's the bathroom panel cut to size. The gapping looks a bit right. This looks slightly off, about 5mm off, which I can fix. Not even sure if I need to be honest. Okay, so next job is go outside, mark where the window is going to be. So we mark the window, and then I'll put my routing template on it and I'll route it out. So before I put the wood up, I mark the center point of the window, and I'll just mark that, and then take the wood off and draw the lines. Now before I take the wood down, I am going to mark it so that it lines up. So when I put it back, I've got markers that I know match. It just makes the job of lining it all up again a lot easier. And I've just drawn a centre line through my mark, top to bottom, so I know where the centre point or the centre line of the window is. So quite a few episodes now I made a routing template for the holes, and the idea is line it up to the top of the board, line it up to the centre line there, and that gives me a cutting template. Pop a couple of little screws in it just to hold it, so that when I turn it over it's still in the same place. And then make a hole so that the router bit can insert. Jig with a trim router bit in it, follows the template and just cuts out the hole like a knife through butter. It's great. Right, let's tidy it up a wee bit. Routers make a terrible mess even with the vacuum on it. The last thing I need to do on this board is cut a hole for the switches. As you can imagine, I've got a template for that too, so that all the sockets are at the same height. So this socket's a little different from all the others. It's a proper 12-volt socket for the gulper pump. So it's mostly surface mount. So I don't want to cut the hole out, but I'll cut a little hole for the wires. Right, where's the marks? There's the marks. There. Get that there. That's all right. Feed the wire through. Right. Yeah, that lines up. Very, very nice. The template's the same size as the porthole lining. That's why it's bigger than the window. Okay, loads of screws now. Very pleased with that. It's gone up quite quick, actually. Rats. I forgot to seal the edge. Got to get the edges sealed because this is the bathroom as well, so, and that's behind the shower, so really important to seal the edges. Right, take it down. Right, that's it back down, but I'll seal the edges in a bit. I'll get the other side done. More templates. This is a screw position template marked out so that it fits the horizontal beams. And that's that side up. Same as before, all marked up so that when I put it back, I know where things are going. So let's go outside and mark the hole. Gosh, I didn't realise it was getting so late. Beginning to get dark. Same as before. Mark the centre line of the window. But the lead was missing from my pencil there. Right, let's get that template on. Right, that's the template on. Let's cut a hole. That's it up. You know, I cannot believe how quick those things have gone up today. I've really learned the lesson, and using those templates just make it so speedy. So let's get those edges sealed up. They'll dry overnight and that'll be it. Time to break out the Zinsser bin. Give it a good stir because it's been sat there for ages. And we'll just get all these edges done on both these boards. Another day, more wood down the boat. It's a bit yucky and drizzly. I was going to paint the drainage channels today, but at the moment there's way too much condensation around. and there's nobody in the boat yard, so now I have to figure out how to get those planks of wood all the way up there. Whew. Managed it. Hurt my back though. Let's get these hatches shut up, get the heater on, because it's 9 degrees in here and it's pretty cold. Whew. Right then, warming up a wee bit. So the plan today was to paint the second coat on the lined edges, and then go outside and paint the drainage channels and put some mastic on the engine control panel. But it's so wet out there, lots of condensation, lots of damp, it's drizzling. So change of plans. I'm still going to do the bulkhead thing, so let's get them done. While all that's drying, I can get measured up and finish off lining the bulkheads. And away we go. Now before we paused for painting, I was in the middle of doing the bathroom, which is, you know, the lining out that was finishing yesterday, but I was doing the bulkheads. And I was having a bit of a quandary with the bulkheads. We want a central door on the saloon with the fire and a cupboard, basically the cat bed either side. And then this bulkhead is where the shower was going to be. And I was trying to figure out whether it was an 800 or a 900 shower. Most of that consideration was due to the door. So I've always said I wanted quite wide doors. Standard UK doors are, well, there are lots of standard sizes, but fundamentally 2 foot or 610 centimetres. No, 61 centimetres, 610 millimetres. But 2 foot, plus you allow room for the lining, and it kind of gives you a bit of, you know, rough size to work from. Lots of people have said that's a very wide door on a narrowboat, and I get it. We've been on some narrowboats that had 18-inch doors. Never got through them. Just not a chance. So maybe slightly less. So there's instead of 24 inches, 2 foot, you can get a 21-inch door, which I thought was quite good. But here's the thing. We have a water tank. And if anything happens to that water tank, we've got to get the water tank from the bow out through the stern. That water tank, including all the pipe work, is about 590 mil, 580 mil. So I need a 600 mil door to get that water tank through. It's not going to go through the bow window. Nah, I've just looked at it. It's definitely not going to go through the bow window, because that's only 700 mil wide, I think. Anyway, I'll figure that out in a minute. Actually, that's a good point. So really, it's the need to get stuff from the bow, like the water tank. It's unlikely to need a new water tank. Let's be honest. But at the same time, stuff happens. And if you don't plan for it, when something does happen, then we're going to have to take that bulkhead down, take that wall down, cut it all up to get things out. And that's just not an option in my head. So looking at future proofing, looking at maintenance capabilities, that door has to be 600 millimeters wide. Standard door is 610 millimeters wide. So I'm going to see if I can work it. The compromise is the shower. Instead of a 900 mil wide shower, we're going to have an 800 mil shower. And the other compromises were, I was thinking about building a cupboard over here, but I think we'll have to forego that as well. And that's just simply narrowboat space, right? You save an inch here, you save an inch there, and sooner or later you've got another 2 or 3 inches. And that's all I need is about 50, 60 millimeters, 2 or 3 inches. But I don't have it if I want to get that water tank through the door. Anyway, that's the explainer. Let's crack on and finish it off. Well, yeah, and we discovered one of the best bits of fun you can have in a DIY store is go to the shower section, find an 800ml quadrant shower, bend over like you're picking up the soap and see how far your arse sticks out the door. And everybody watching going, ew. So, time to dig out the template I made for the bulkhead lining. Now that the wall lining's up, just double check it all. Oh yeah, that needs trimmed there. Let's go on with that. Yeah, so as expected, it's when I measured it up, it was against one bit of wood. Now this is up. It's just a couple of little, needs a wee bit of trim off of there, and just a little high spot there. So, oh, you can't see that on camera. Yeah, so I'm just nibbling away at it, getting this template right, and then I'll show you in a minute. We'll cut the proper wood for this. Right, so bring in some of that wood that I brought on board yesterday. Right, one bit of wood cut, probably needs fettling in, but we'll try that in a minute. Right. Oh, golly, well that worked. That's kind of wee high spot there. Right, I can nibble that away. Right, that's wow. Lot to be said for templates, isn't there? Cool. There we are. That's the other side in. I have to confess, I'm quite proud of myself. Really guiltily proud of myself. From working out a template that I've never done before, from scribing that I've never done before, to making a bulkhead that I've never done before. I am well chuffed with myself. So the only thing I've got to do with this side is cut the hole for the cassette toilet. But I'm kind of thinking that I'll put a little partition here for the toilet. But I'll do that another day because I need to work it out. Obviously I've got to put in the Celotex foam in there as well. So, you know, a long way to go with this yet. So today I'm going to do the other side. So I had a bit of an idea. So I know where to put the screws into. I've put the boards inside out, so put it around the other side. And I'm just going to mark where the cross members are. And that way I know where I've got somewhere to screw onto. Well, that's gone a bit weird. Very interesting. You see it better here. So, worrying. I think I just need to fettle it in a bit more, but that means this side of the boat isn't the same shape as that side of the boat. There's a surprise. Yeah, so each side of that door is exactly the same width. The door is exactly the same width from the center point. It's perfectly straight. So all the measurements are right. I think it's just got the top bit is slightly different shape. I moved it in 10mm, but it's seriously weird. It kind of implies it's not straight, but it is. Oh, I've been scratching my head for ages. I can't figure this out. Even on the other side, it's completely out. It's like that. And if I measure between the points, it's out. Whereas between the stud wall, it's perfect. It's the right size. The only thing I conclude is that the floor isn't flat. I can't. It explains a few things, but yeah, don't get it. You can see it there. I'm tempted to trust my measuring tape and just cut that off, because everything else is as it should be. It's weird. And if I cut in there, then that'll come further in, and that's the right size. It's exactly from there to there is the same size as the joist. I don't get it. Bit of scribing and it's a bit better, but I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and chop it off there. Don't have much choice. I think we'll clock that up as a win. I will scribe them in. I just can't be bothered trying to figure it out and trying to suss things out. I know these studs are parallel, so that's what it's getting. And down at my workbench is a mess. I tell you, circular saws make a terrible mess. So, time to tidy up, and then we'll see where we get to next. You know, I have to say, my little homemade track saw has worked brilliantly. Perfectly straight lines, perfectly lined up. Works a treat with my circular saw. So that saved me £150. Well, that's the end of an exceedingly good day's work. We have a bathroom. Well, that's been a long day. Bit tired now. In the end, I just scribed the end off of the panel at the stud because I just couldn't be bothered fighting with it anymore. Trying to figure it all out. You know, the size is correct for the fireplace, the size is correct for the door. It's absolutely parallel, the door. And it's straight, so I don't figure out at all. It must be the floor is not quite flat. Maybe it was the foil lining. Maybe there's an overlap of foil lining or something there. I don't know, but I couldn't be bothered figuring it out. I just took the saw to it. Another day back at the boat. I hurt my back yesterday lifting those bits of wood onto the boat, so I'm a bit stiff and sore. So light duties today. I get these sealed up. Gonna make a trim for the top of the door, and if I can, I'll get the cross battens and the bulkhead in that corner finished. Now I went to order some more plywood for the bulkhead and for the bow. But the plywood that I've been using, that is called Guernica Efficiency. It's out of stock and won't be in stock for 10 days. Right, so we'll rethink that plan for a bit. So job today, do a bit of the trim. So I've put up a bit of wood, I've scribed it for the gap. Let's go and cut it out. There we go. That's all trimmed up and shaped. So I'm just going to do the other side. So now we've got one. We use it as a template for the opposite side. That's the top of the door linings done. Fettled in a bit, made them shape well. So now I'm going to take these panels off and we'll get them painted up. But I confess my back is quite sore. Moving around is quite painful. So I don't think I'll be doing much more today other than painting up the edges of these boards. I don't think I'll be able to do much more. Doing a bit of a Friday tidy up, emptying my bin and stuff. Yeah, I heard on the news this morning that the average this week has been 18 minutes of sunshine per day. Really? As much as that? Yeah, I'm glad I haven't fitted my solar yet. Sometime later, I've got some paint on the edges. Oh, well, what a week. Got loads done, lots of little bitty things finished off. Unfortunately, the weather was against us, so I couldn't quite get the sealant done on the outside. That'll wait. We're under cover for the moment. Yeah, lots and lots of bitty things, wrapping up all the painting, clearing the decks of all of that, getting the bulkheads done, which I'm very proud of. Didn't quite finish the thing I wanted to do today. That's just because my back is so sore. We'll leave that for another day, I think. Not a problem. So there might not be a video next week. Roma and I are going to take a wee holiday. We haven't been up home to Scotland. Home? Hasn't been home for 40 years. Why do we say that? I haven't been up to Scotland for about 3 years, so we're going to go up and see friends and family. Take a kind of end of painting project break. Recharge the batteries, all that sort of stuff that you do. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Click the subscribe button, click the little bell icon. You'll get informed when we're release another video. And for all those that continue to stick with us, thank you very much. Much appreciated. As always, all those comments, they're really quite helpful. So until next time.